When we study these features one by one, it gives complete idea about our constitution. Let us discuss one by one. The first one, written and lengthy constitution. So our constitution is in written form. So like it defines the structure of the government, it defines the three organs of the government, its powers and functions, fundamental rights and duties, everything is in written form. All these are royally predetermined one. Everything is predetermined one and kept in written form. So it is also considered as lengthy constitution in the world. Indian constitution is considered as lengthy constitution in the world because everything is kept in written form. Each and the law, everything is in written form. Next, some countries are following unwritten constitution. So in those countries, people following some general acceptance. People follow certain general acceptance. And according to situation, laws are made in the country. So according to how situations are coming, so according to that, laws are made. For unwritten constitution, you can take example of your house. In everyone's house, certain rules and regulations are there. But those rules and regulations are not kept in written form. For example, at what time you should get up, at what time you should come back to your home, after sunset you should not go outside. So like so many rules and regulations are there in everyone's house, but they are not kept in written form. So like this, some countries following unwritten constitution where people follow some general acceptance and according to situation laws are made. So the next one is partially flexible and partially rigid one. Why it is called as partially flexible? Because there is a provision for the alteration. The laws can be amended easily. The laws can be amended easily. Because when constitution was prepared, laws were made according to situation at that time. But now, with the changing circumstances, they need alteration. It is necessary to alter laws wherever it required. So that why it is called as partially flexible. Alteration is necessary. So Indian constitution allowed alteration. Then why it is called as partially rigid? In order to amend any law in the country, it is necessary to follow certain procedure. Like parliament approval is necessary. Next, by bringing the Amendment Act, we can alter any law. In order to alter any law, parliament approval is necessary. Then by bringing Amendment Act, laws are altered. So that why it is called as partially rigid one. The next one is parliamentary form of the government. The constitution provides a parliamentary form of the government. So in parliamentary form of the government, the supreme power is vested with the elected parliament. The executive is responsible to the legislature both at the central level and at the state level. The cabinet is in power as long as it enjoys the confidence of the legislature. As soon as it loses the confidence of the legislature, then it has to resign. So, legislature confidence is very necessary. Next, in parliamentary form of the government, two higher posts we can observe. One is is also elected by the common people. In India, the highest position is president post. Even president also elected by the common people indirectly. People elect their representatives. Representatives elect president for the country. So like people electing president indirectly. So here the transfer of power is not hereditary. The president is also elected for a particular period. After that period, once again people electing another person as a president. So that's why India is a republic. The next one is federal system. So India had federal structure of the government. The country is ruled by two-level governments. So here two-tier governments we can observe. So it means the administrative powers are shared among the center and the states. Some powers are exclusively under central government. For example, Department of Railways, Defense, Post, Telecommunication, even some more are exclusively under central government. So that is called as central list. Next, some powers are exclusively under state government. For example, Department of Police, issue of ration cards, supply of free food to the people. So all these are exclusively, even many more are exclusively under state government. And those are called as state list. Next, some departments are handled by both the governments. Even center and even state. Both the governments handle those departments. For example, departments of health and education, in which the central government prepares plans and policies for the entire nation and they explain it to the state governments, and state governments implement those policies and plans in their state. So those are called as concurrent list. Concurrent means both central government and state government working together. So like this, the central list has 100 subjects, the state list has 61 subjects, and the concurrent list has 52 subjects. So that one we can observe in the federal system of the government. The next one is fundamental rights. Every country provides certain rights to its citizens. These rights are very important for the welfare of the individual. The country provides freedom regarding certain aspects like right to equality, right to liberty, right against exploitation, right to follow any religion, cultural and educational right to constitutional remedies. So yeah, in India, total 6 fundamental rights are listed under the Constitution. No government or individual or any organization should violate the rights of any citizen. If such violation takes place, if anybody taken away the rights of any citizen, then citizens have right to appeal in the court. They have right to appeal in the court. So the High Court and the Supreme Court, by protecting the fundamental rights of the citizens by giving bold judgment. So these rights are very important for the citizens. Next one is fundamental duties. The Constitution not only offers fundamental rights, even it also defines certain duties for its citizens. These duties are the responsibilities towards our country. Being a citizen of India, everyone must perform these duties. So later we will discuss Supreme Court is the highest court in the country, and all other high courts and subordinate courts are working under it. So that's why it is called as centralized judiciary. The next one is single citizenship. The Constitution has made provision for single citizenship in order to curb provincialism and in order to develop nationalism among the people. It means the person can live anywhere in the country, enjoys same rights. He enjoys all rights wherever he lived. So that shows single citizenship. The next one is adult franchise. The Constitution provides adult franchise. Who have attained the age of 18 have right to vote in the election. So 18 plus aged people, they cast vote in the election. That is the adult franchise, and they elect the government. The next one is bicameral legislature. India had bicameral structure of legislature. Central legislature is also called as parliament. Parliament comprises two houses. One is Lok Sabha and another one is Rajya Sabha. Bicameral, it means two houses. The legislature contained two houses. One is Lok Sabha and another one is Rajya Sabha. Next one is party system. Political parties are the pillars of the democracy. There is a multi-party system in India. So many parties are found in India. The party which wins majority of votes acting as a ruling party, and the rest will be acting as a opposition party. So political parties play a vital role in the country. Next one is directive principles of state policy. These are the basic, it means important directions given by the Constitution to the state governments and the central government. The Constitution provides important directions to the central government and the state governments. These directions are very important in order to establish welfare state and in order to bring social and economic equality among the people. So that's why the Constitution laid down important principles or directions. But there is no compulsory for the states to implement all the directions. Whenever possible, they can implement these directions. If governments do not implement any of these directions, that time they cannot be questioned by court of law. They can implement any of these directions, so whenever possible. For example, one direction is like prohibition of liquor. All states are not implemented this law in their state. Only some states implemented this direction, like Gujarat, Bihar, where the consumption of liquor is prohibited. But other states not prohibited the liquor consumption. So this is one example. Later we are going to study directive principles of state policy in detail. So today you learned some important salient features of the Indian Constitution. Children, you keep open your book and study one by one point and understand it properly. So these aspects are very